Yeah, well, just going for a little test run. I'm testing out this mic on camera 2. Also testing out this camera case. I'm using a soundbox holding camera case. Hi, Hippy Trev here, and welcome to my channel. Hope you get something out of it. Alright, let's just check the water in the boat. Good, nice and clear. Yes, it is. Everything else looks good. There. Bit of a warm up. Takes a bit to warm up this old girl. I have the microphone normally up there, and it's normally really good. At the moment I've got it just next to my chin. But I had all the windows down, so I had shitloads of wind noise. And that was actually what the problem was I had all this wind noise. And the microphone broke down, so let's just go for a little run and see what the temp gauge does today. Now, I'll have to think about, bloody Chook's trying to break into the bus over there, what I'm going to do about this fan belt adjustment. I've got no idea at this stage. I think I need a different lower bracket to get some more extension. The only way I know that is to pull the bottom bolt out and see if it can go past what the bracket will allow it to at the moment. Dickheads there. So that'll be the next thing, and then somehow try and look for another bracket, I suppose, a better fitting bracket. Geez, there's a lot of cars coming up the line. What a peak hour Dane Biggin. There's a dangerous spot here, you can't see, but I can't see either. It's like I'm on the corner of the motel and you've got a window of about 3 feet to see if anyone's coming at you around that corner, and they could be flying. Oh, we're good. Alright, so up comes temperature gauge on the left side. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's the left side temp gauge, but that's actually reading on the right bank. So, for those who are unfamiliar, what's been happening is the left bank of the car has been running way hotter than the right side. I've got 2 temp gauges down there. So the left bank of the car has been running hotter than the right bank. Now, I wasn't sure if that was true or whether it was just a temp gauge. So what I've done, I've got 2 temp gauges. And yes, look at that, it runs nearly full off the fucking gauge oil pressure. That oil pressure is about as maxed out as it can get. Once the car warms up, that does come down. But yes, this thing must have a very high volume oil pressure. This thing must have a very high oil pressure pump in it, because it pumps up around, well, 40 all the time, but it goes all the way around to 60. So getting back to this temps thing. Right, getting back to this temp gauge. So the left banks was always running hotter than the right bank, and I wasn't sure whether it was a temp gauge situation or whether it's actually what's actually happening, whether the left bank of this car runs way hotter than the right bank. So what I've done is I've swapped the temp centres over from left to right. So the left bank now is the right bank of the car, and of course that makes the right bank the left bank. And we'll see what the temperature gauges do now. Well, what I'm seeing straight away is the left bank temperature gauge, which was, well, the left temp gauge is reading the right bank, is going way hotter. Now thermostat's opening, so it's cooling down. Both are running cool now. That's both running under 180, which at this time of the morning would be pretty normal because it's still pretty cool out there. Only about 25 degrees. So I'm guessing that temp gauge on the left is not reading the same as the temp gauge on the right. Now the temp gauge on the left is also older than the temp gauge on the right. I've had that one in the car pretty much since the day I bought it. So coming on 5 years now. And the gauge on the right that's my new gauge, which I only bought about a year ago. So it's sort of telling me it's not an engine problem, it's a gauge problem. We'll go to the turnaround out here. Just keep a good eye on everything that's happening. We're only coasting at about 60 mile an hour. I've got a turnaround point just up ahead here, and then I'll run through the gears. See if we can get that temperature up a bit hotter. That's strange, they're sort of both running pretty even at the moment, which they never do, so. Traffic on the road this morning. Fucking four-wheel drive guy on the fucking phone. Get that a lot out here, cunts on their fucking phones. Now I can just dive in front of this car, he'll be right. Plenty of time. Yep. We'll just wait here for a sec and see what goes under idle. They're actually running pretty much exactly the same for a change. I don't know if you can see that there. Oh no, the left gauge is definitely running not by much, only a couple of minimal degrees, actually running almost parallel to what to normal. Which would tell me that maybe the engine does actually run slightly hotter on the left bank than the right. And there's definitely a difference between the two temp gauges. So the right one, being slightly cooler, is reading the same temperature as the left, even though the left is probably running hotter because the gauge on the left, running the right bank, is probably running in cooler water but at a higher temperature, if you get what I mean. Anyway. So maybe, right, we've got the button down for first gear. We're in drive, button down for first. Let's run it out. Up to red line. 4 grand. Up to second. Beautiful. So that brought the temperature up anyway. I don't work the boat that hard very often. Don't really need to, being a V8. Let's give her a bit of a push into town. And I do seriously think I need to invest in a set of V8 springs in the front. Put those big tyres on the back, she drives more like a boat than she ever did. The front's gone a bit spongy, so think I definitely need to invest in a set of V8 springs in the front. I'm still only running 6-cylinder front springs. I've got the V8 sway bar in there, but I'm still only running 6-cylinder springs. The alternator is almost hitting on the front subframe, so the alternator is almost hitting on the front subframe rails. So yeah, so that temperature gauge on the left definitely reads hotter than the temp gauge on the right, but I don't think it's an overheating problem. And Michaela and Matt, you can see. Meat market's on. Stock are in. I heard them bellowing last night. So you're asking me about when do the cattle show up? Well, they've showed up, and stock markets are on. So that's for Matt and Michaela, my newbie scribers. And I've just hit 105 scribers. How's that? 105. I almost feel famous. Right, I'm in the main street of Big. I'll just turn into the main street of Bigoton. All still dead quiet, not much going on. Got cute Jodie coming over this morning with her grandkids, which would be nice. She's also bringing me some cigars, which is even nicer. As she lives over in Scaryborough, she can just duck into the tobacco shop for me and grab me a couple of pack of Old Ports, which is pretty cool. Up over the bridge. Beautiful Mount Walsh in the background. Well, foreground. Right, let's go and see if the chooks have batted their way into the bus. I've actually pulled my netting down over the door, pulled the perspex off the screen door, stop the chooks getting in the bus and laying them over it. I've got 3 of them that were laying in there and I'm just over it. I still have my hippie roots, but I'm just not that fucking hippie anymore. I'm certainly not that hippie about them laying in the bus and fucking sinking it out. So there's plenty of other places for the chooks to go and lay, so they can go and lay there instead of laying in my bus. I'm over it. I didn't mind when it was just Blondie doing it, but when all the other 3 coming in and laying, no, I don't want it. God, I hope she hasn't found her way in. Oh yeah, well, it's back in the driveway. Oh, seatbelt. Oh, fucking knees. Killing me. Hello, chookies. Anyway, well, it's back at the bus and about to go make a cuppa. That was a hot run on the bus to see what those temp gauges were doing. I do believe the left bank definitely runs hotter than the right bank, but I also believe that left temp gauge is also reading a higher reading than what is actually going on. So at the moment, I think there's no real motor issues, and I'm happy to leave it where it is. So anyway, well, stay safe, keep your knees in the breeze, and I'll catch you later. Bye.